Yeah, I feel like I kind of disappoint people off stage. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm very dull and very boring, and you know it is. Everybody has this expectation like it's every night is like Animal House, and you be drinking and partying and just going nuts. And then you know I'm always just kind of after the show. People are like, you want to go drinking? Let's go drink. And I'm like, is there a pizza place around here? Let's just get pizza. Plus, as a comic, you're kind of like a monk off stage anyway, right? You try kind of keep it in your own element. You kind of don't talk that much. You kind of keep your head down, right? And
I read a stat that said that a public speaker who orates and speaks for an hour and a half to 2 hours puts in the same mental and emotional energy as somebody who sits for an 8-hour workday. Like that's why I get very offended when people are saying like do you actually do work? And it's like, yeah, I do, because like when you're on stage too, if you're, I mean, you know it to be true. I mean, I've never worked in a cubicle. I have no desire to work in a cubicle. But when you're at work, you can take those moments to close your eyes, maybe go to the water cooler, whatever. Your brain shuts on and off over that 8-hour span.
right.
If we're on stage for 2 hours, even prior, because we're thinking show, heading up to that, the brain doesn't shut off for 3 to 4 hours at all. Like there is no downtime. So.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're burning everything that you got in one kind of big burst, and after that, yeah, it definitely, because I know I usually feel exhausted after shows. You feel like you burn all your mental energy and your physical energy on stage, and then it's like anybody else kind of getting off of work. I feel like once you're off stage, you're ready to just check out, and you're ready to just kind of either go back to your hotel or go back to your house and just kind of crash out.
I'm comedian Timmy Boyle, and this is the greatest live Instagram comedy experience that nobody knew about. So Andy Beningo is trying to figure out how to connect with me here on the IG, as the kids like to call it. And then we would be bringing the show back on right at 6 o'clock. But I do not see Andy yet. How are you guys doing? I am actually going to. It's so nice to have you guys show up so early here. This is kind of like, when we're doing a comedy show and we're doing the sound check, and like a few people open the back door and they kind of peek in, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, can we come in?" And we're doing the sound check, and we're like, oh, "Okay," and then they're watching the sound check. That's kind of what you guys are getting right now. It's kind of like a bonus. If we were charging for this, it would be like free, but seeing as the whole show is free. Oh, look, there we go. We got Andy. Andy. Look, see, everybody, clap for Andy. Here we go. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna bring in Andy. We're gonna add. You're gonna see this whole test thing happen. Andy, where are you? So nice. Now, for all of you who are coming in right now, just understand, Andy.
Hey, man. All right, we got it working finally, huh?
We got it working, and we've already got 5 viewers. I've been telling people this is kind of like the pre-test.
Yeah.
And kind of like, when we're doing like a show, you're doing sound check, and all of a sudden people start coming in the back room.
100%. They're like, and that's like, they're always like, "Did the show start already?" You're like, "There's nobody here. Why would no? Just relax. It's 6:30. The staff's not even here yet."
I mean, I wish I had a staff for this. Quite honestly, we could have done this a lot earlier in the day. Got a staff test run.
I don't know, man. I had a lot going this afternoon. I took 2 naps today. It's been just jam slammed, man. It's been just nonstop. So,
I don't even know if I should tell this story now or like, what time is it? What time you got?
It's pretty close to 6. I mean, it's like maybe a minute or 2 before, but I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, man.
I don't know. Do we log out and start the show at 6 o'clock, or do we just kind of run into this thing?
Let's run into it, because I'm afraid I don't know how to use this, and I'm afraid I'm back in, and people are gonna be like, "I thought this thing was live," and I'm gonna end up blowing it. So yeah.
Well, it is live, and so now we've got some people in here who have already joined us, and they got front row seats, came in before the rest of the crowd even knew things were going on.
All right. Awesome.
But okay. So here's so wait. Oh. Here's where I got to do this. All right. Come with me. I don't normally do this. People are gonna get.
I'm
this.
just I'm following you.
Yeah. See, so everybody who is tuning in right now, you realize that you're a part of something that doesn't normally happen. You just got a little tour of the corners of my ceiling of my house, and I don't normally reveal that. But I don't know about you, Andy. Are you even in your own house right now? Because I know
I'm down in my basement actually, only because I've got the 6-year-old and the 3-year-old upstairs, and I know they're gonna start screaming and yelling at any minute. So
yeah, that's kind of opposite of when I had a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old in my basement, and they would always scream.
Yeah.
I don't,
right.
but that's a whole other story. Statute of limitations. It's all good now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me so don't go anywhere, because we don't want to ruin this technology thing that we've just figured out here. But I want to kind of announce to everybody who's coming in here. My name is Timmy Boyle. Down below, depending on whether you have your phone upside down, is Andy Beningo. And you are watching episode, I believe this is episode 8 of Calling Comedians in Cquarantine. Now, I don't know, Andy, if you recognize the 3 C's. I had Calling Comedians in Cquarantine.
I love it.
Yeah, because I thought Quarantine started with a C. I thought it was like CW, and then apparently it wasn't, so I had to quickly change that last minute.
Yeah.
But it ended up working. But we've had a great week of comics on the show. I literally, like you, Andy, I did not understand this technology for years. People have said, why don't you go on and do live things? And I'm like, why would I do that? I don't get it. And then I don't know if you've heard that there's a bug going around, and that kind of got me stuck in the house. It's maybe just a Canadian thing.
Haven't heard anything about it. No.
Yeah. There's a bird. I don't know. Some bird passed something on. A few people have got something. I don't want to get it, whatever it is. But
I'm a comedian, so I've just been literally sleeping all day, every day. So I haven't changed any routines or anything. So don't know what's been going on in the outside world, man.
That's where I wanted to go. Right before we kind of went into the restart of the show. But anyways, welcome to everybody who's here. We're going to be talking with Andy Beningo today here on Calling Comedians in Cquarantine. But Andy, here's the thing. People have asked, is this thing throwing off my life? And apparently you're in the same boat as me. I posted a picture yesterday of me taking a nap because I don't know what time it is anymore. I don't know what day of the week it is. Yeah. But then I realized that that's exactly how my regular life is. I don't know what day of the week is it ever. Because if we don't have a show, I'm napping.
Yeah.
So
100%. But no, I mean, it's definitely thrown off a little bit. Like I said, kids, I don't know how it is in Canada, and where I'm at in Michigan, they've shut schools down for about 3 weeks. So I've had the kids here more or less, and, just kind of been running around with that. But, yeah, you kind of live for Saturday night. You kind of live for Friday night, those show days. And then when you don't get them, it does. Somebody posted, a very funny guy named Chad Daniels posted a funny tweet yesterday where he said it feels like the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, but it's gone on forever. Because that's really the week when everybody's just hanging out, and everybody's watching Netflix doing nothing. But hopefully everything will be back to normal here pretty quick. We'll see what happens.
Well, I think for me, what's been cool about it is because of what I do and you do, it feels like time has just stopped, because we can't really do a lot of the work that we usually, like when people say, what else do you do? Well, I run a business. And when we're at home trying to book, nobody's talking about booking anything right now. So it gives us this chance to actually, I don't know, for me, it gives me a chance to catch up. Another reason it's given me a creative thing, like this show never would have happened because I was like, I don't want to go on the technology. But then I was like, oh, well, you know what, let's try it. I don't have proper lighting or proper sound, but let's see what happens. So it's kind of created a little bit of a creative streak for me, which I've really liked as well.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's what's kind of cool is, like you said, you're more focused. A lot of times just trying to keep busy. You're focusing on just shows booked or whatever. Whereas this just kind of opens up time to either write or, like the online content. I don't know if you saw it. I just did a video online last Saturday night, because basically the joke was I've gotten on stage every Saturday night for the last 13 years. So being in quarantine, I got to get up in front of the crowd I can get in front of. And it was my 6-year-old and 3-year-old. So we set
Right.
up like a little stand-up comedy club and basically tried doing jokes for them. And, you know, just stuff like that. It's like you said, it's stuff you probably wouldn't even bother attempting to do, or, you know, sketch wise, because you're too busy focused on more or less the live,
Yeah.
you know, shows. So yeah, it does. It definitely does add some creative stuff. And, you know, everybody's just trying to make people laugh any way that they can. And so this technology thing is really cool. And like I said, a lot of with Zooms, trying to do like live shows over Zoom and stuff. I haven't tried that yet, but it's interesting because I still feel like you still need the live audience, you know, and I don't know if it translates over the internet or whatever, but you know, a lot of people are trying it. So who knows, maybe in a couple of years, we'll just all be staying home on our couches and performing that way, man.
Well, that's what I think. Like, well, in a couple of years, this thing's still going to be going. So I'm pretty sure of that. So a very important question. Did your 6-year-old or your 3-year-old, did either of them laugh at your jokes? Is one of them more of a fan of yours than the other?
Well, that's what kind of makes the sketches, because I'm doing comedy, and then I basically, you know, I actually did the stand-up, and we kind of just taped their reactions to the jokes. So like my daughter's just kind of like rolling her eyes, and my son just looks totally confused. And then, you know, I just kind of spliced it together. I only coached him on one line, and that was just basically my son calling me a hack, which just made it funnier. Yeah, I mean, it's but they're at that age where they think they're the funniest things, but they end every, like, they'll do jokes, but it doesn't make sense, but they think as long as they say "get it" at the end of the sentence, it's a joke. So they'll be like, "Why did the cat cross the road? Because there's chicken in the air. Get it?" And then they're like laughing hysterically, and you're like, it's not even a joke, but just because they said "get it," they think that counts as a joke. So they're just a cute, fun age right now, you know.
Well, that kind of confuses me, because then I think that maybe I might be their age, because I think I'm the funniest. So
well, as long as you throw "get it" after any sentence, it'll work.
I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna write that down here. Now, for the record, just for full disclosure, because I've been in my house now for well over a week in Cquarantine, I do these shows with no pants. I just want you to make sure that you're comfortable with that.
Sure.
Last
That's
night,
social distancing thing too, you know, so it works out.
yeah. Well, last night, an eagle-eyed viewer noticed when my phone went back a little bit that I had joggers on last night. But I did that because I had Kristen Weber on, and you know, you just got to have some little bit of decorum right at that level. So, but because I'm back with you now, just so you know, the pants are back off. I'm not going anywhere for years. So I don't why right?
Yeah. Keep it casual. Keep it casual. That's totally fine.
So, Andy, I did a little bit of research here that I want to kind of talk about. Here on the show, we just want to talk about life, quarantine, comedy, those type of things. First of all, thank you for joining Instagram just for this show. You didn't have an account, and I think you're the first comic to be on this show that did not have an Instagram account and literally got one to come on the show. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for that. Was that easy to set that up?
Well, it is. I mean, it was one of those things where it was like, you know, as a comic, everybody's like, you got to be on Twitter, you got to be on Facebook, you got to be on this, you got to be on that. And Instagram was one of those that people kept telling me about. And I was like, I don't have time to keep uploading 400 things. I don't know, whatever. And then everybody's like, oh, no, Instagram's like way better than Twitter and Facebook. That's the one you should have joined like 10 years ago. So I'm doing a little bit of a catch up now, but no, super easy. And you know, just from looking at it, I like it way better than Twitter and Facebook and stuff, because it's mostly just pictures and kind of jokes and stuff. So yeah, but no, I appreciate you having me on the show for sure.
I noticed though your very first picture. So anybody needs to follow. What is it? Bingo Comedy. I think
it's that Bingo Comedy. Yep.
Yeah. So your very first picture and only picture on Instagram. Tell us about that photo, because you and I have talked a little bit about the scenario, but tell us about the only photo you have on Instagram. I want to hear that story.
And it's the only picture I'll ever have to post on Instagram. It's me with Hockey Hall of Famer and my hero, Steve Yzerman. I think we were talking about this in Edmonton, right? Where were we, St. Catharines or something? I think we were working.
Yes, yeah. But I was talking Oilers. That's why the Edmonton reference, right?
Right. So, but basically, yeah, I was at this charity event. I'm a huge Detroit Red Wings fan, as you can probably tell from my basement here. hockey pictures and stuff. But no, just was at a charity event and happened to get introduced to Steve Yzerman, and I was totally freaking out. I think I was telling you that story. I was walking off, and I'm like, there's a giant line, and I'm like, oh, is that the meet and greet for me? People want pictures with me? And the lady's like, no, that's actually with Steve Yzerman, who I never had a chance to meet. And I instantly turned into like 10-year-old me. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Stevie Y. He's 4-year-old. He scored that goal. It was amazing. He's Stanley Cup champion. And like the lady in charge of the event kind of like freaked out. It's like, whoa, like kind of like calm down. Like you were like, you. And so, yeah, I got to spend a little bit of time with him, talk to him a little bit about the draft and just kind of how the Red Wings are. And thankfully, that's kind of the good thing about the coronavirus is you don't have to watch the Red Wings lose any more games this year. They've been pretty brutal. But no, it was really cool. And you know, obviously once I figure it out, I'll probably be posting some show pictures and some other things like that. But yeah, it was awesome. And then somebody wrote in there, you should have seen Timmy when he met Walter Gretzky. Huh? I remember telling you that story. I think we were at Boston Pizza.
Yeah, we were like that's crazy. Like, I mean, Gretzky actually, they just I think it was just the anniversary or something of him getting the 802nd goal where he beat Gordie Howe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because we've been reliving the past up here in sports, because real sports isn't going on right now, they've been reliving the 1993 run with the Leafs, where we went up against Gretzky in LA, and Gretzky high-stuck Gilmore, drew blood, didn't get a penalty. I can't hold that against the great one. And we could have won the Stanley Cup that year. I don't care what anyone says. But we've been doing shows in Brantford on the circuit tour for 9 years now, and I'd always wanted Walter Gretzky to come out, and then one day he did, and Robert Beckham made that happen. He's watching this right now, and Walter Gretzky, the father of the great one, showed up at my show, sat right in the front row, came up on stage. That picture's on my Instagram. Awesome. But I mean, I'm going to say, we're going to say our stories are equal. Do you just with Steven with Yzerman there? Do you feel he deserved Hall of Fame? I thought he was kind of on the bubble.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I thought he was I think you're razzing me right now. I mean, but no, he's one of those rare guys, and I think we've even talked about this before. He's one of those guys who probably could have put up 700, 800 goals easily. But, in the mid-'90s, the Red Wings were so close to winning the Cup. And, Scotty Bowman basically helped him transform his game to where he became, I think, one of the best two-way players, man. He was, blocking shots, killing penalties. So, kind of sacrificed some stats for kind of team play. But, no, it was exciting. I mean, he's back with the Red Wings as the GM. So, it's going to take a little while for them to get decent, but he did a great job in Tampa. I mean, I kind of got hired. I don't know how many years ago, but Tampa was kind of a, decent. I mean, hopefully he does the same thing with the Wings, but but it's great. So.
Well, that's awesome. You guys need to go check out that picture with him and Steve Yzerman. So on your website, it said that you've now. I mean, I have a website too, and pretty much everything on there I made up. So I don't know what stuff is true on yours, but it says that over 3,000 career performances, which is super cool. Does that include the one that you just did with your 6-year-old and your 3-year-old?
No, I left that one out. I counted that one just as kind of a sketch, but just being a hockey nerd, I was always obsessed with stats.
Yeah.
So I honestly kept track of every show. I got this giant Word document with every show. It's got the number, the spot on the show, who I worked with, and the date basically, and the venue. And so I just kept track, just more or less for me, and just to kind of look back. Because my goal originally was man, if I could just do 100 stand-up shows, that was amazing. And I'm thinking that'll probably take 30 years to do. And then you realize oh, that's 3 months of shows or whatever. So I just kind of kept track of them, just more or less, like I said, just me being a stats nerd. It doesn't mean anything in the long run, but it's more or less for me to kind of look back and go, man, it's kind of cool. And then obviously when you kind of scroll through the Rolodex of shows, you only remember the bad ones. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you go, I bombed at that place. Oh, I remember that one. So more or less, it's just a painful reminder of some of the places I've been. But
now we've only been on the stage once together, in St. Catharines.
Right.
Just off the top of your head, because I'm sure it was memorable. What number was the show that you and I were on?
Oh, it was like right over 3,000 because I think I got 3,000 like in December, and then I think we worked together just in February.
All right.
So maybe 3,020 or 30 or something like that. And to look it up, sure, but
well, I'm gonna put that on my website that I performed with Andy Beningo in his 3,030th show.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, hopefully we'll get a chance to work together soon because, I mean, that was only we only did the one show, but, man, I really enjoyed it. That was that big show in St. Catharines, and,
we had that taped. Yeah, it was a good one. I haven't seen any of the footage yet, but hopefully that will be out soon.
Oh, I thought you murdered it, though, too, because, I mean, you did the hosting of the thing. And
you did the game show, yeah.
I remember, because it's always interesting when you do those kind of tours because it seems like the comics, for the most part, they don't know each other, but the guys who are in charge do, So like Eric kept going on about, oh, Timmy's great, man. You're going to love Timmy. And I was like, oh, I can't wait. For me, I like watching guys I've never seen before. And I felt like for like a week and a half, I'm like, oh, I'm doing great on this game show. I got the hang of it. And then I watched you do it, and I felt embarrassed. I was like, oh, this guy's really good. I don't know what I'm doing. So it was fun to just kind of watch and take notes, and it was kind of cool. So, I enjoyed it for sure working with you. So
I appreciated that. Jacob is in here. Just so you know, Jacob is a young comic, started doing stand-up at the age of 16. I met him down in Pasadena. So he's been here watching the shows. And so we got some new we got Orlena Kane in here. She was killing it as a comic, but then she just got too busy and too big and, can't do it anymore. But she should have kept going with that. You also are described, Andy, as this is official here. I wrote down on my card as an everyman style. That's how it's described. Now, I went online to try to find out how many men there are, because you're everyman. Depending on what you read, there could be 20 different types of men, 8 different types of men, 5 different types of men, and 4 different types of men. So I just kind of went with one list, and I just want you to tell me, out of the everyman, which one of these best describes you, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
So these were the 4 on this one list because I didn't have time to do the 20-man list. You're either the warrior, the philosopher, the monk, or the bard. I had to Google bard, but
yeah, what is a bard?
Well, a bard kind of might skew your answer a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Is a professional storyteller, a music composer, a oral historian, and a verse maker. So I would think on the surface I would go bard, but
sure.
You might be a bigger warrior. So what type of man would you be?
Just look at me. I look like a warrior. I look pretty tough. I look pretty manly, But no, I mean, for the most part, what I meant by that was just basically, I talk about everyday life. I talk about being married, and I talk about relationships and taking care of the 6-year-old and 3-year-old. And I think being a dad, you kind of do have to be a little bit of a warrior. You gotta wrestle their energy. You gotta wrestle their emotions. Everyone freaking out. So let's go with that. That sounds like a good answer.
All right. So you're the warrior. I think I am the warrior, philosopher, monk, bard.
Yeah, all of them rolled up into one, huh? Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could only be in one vein, but I mean, when you have everything, Andy, it's a curse in some ways, but a blessing in others. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, as a comic, you're kind of like a monk off stage anyway, right? You try kind of keep it in your own element. You kind of don't talk that much. You kind of keep your head down, right? And
do you find I find this all the time. People assume now, based on what you've said before about how you like to take naps and stuff like that and just kind of chill. People assume that most comics are kind of like, they see us on stage and then they just think it's like party. When I come off stage, I'll do the chatting and the handshaking and then the photos, whatever needs to happen. But as soon as I'm out of that building, I'm like ready to like, I don't want to see people. I live in this little village now and I love it because when I get off the road, I come home and there's like it closes down at 5 at night, even before a virus happens. Like people have been saying, how do we handle social distancing? Well, my little village here has been like perfecting it since 1858. Like we've been doing social distancing forever. But yeah, so I guess, is that true with you too, that you kind of use the quiet time to get ready for stage as opposed to stage energizing you for regular life?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of disappoint people off stage. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm very dull and very boring, and you know, it is. Everybody has this expectation, like it's every night is like Animal House, and you be drinking and partying and just going nuts. And then you know, I'm always just kind of after the show. People are like, you want to go drinking? Let's go drink. And I'm like, is there a pizza place around here? Let's just get pizza. But yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like you burn all your mental energy and your physical energy on stage, and then it's like anybody else kind of getting off of work. I feel like once you're off stage, you're ready to just check out and you're ready to just kind of either go back to your hotel or go back to your house and just kind of crash out. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird, I don't want to say expectation or something, but people think it's partying all the time, I guess, you know.
I read a stat that said that a public speaker who orates and speaks for an hour and a half to 2 hours puts in the same mental and emotional energy as somebody who sits for an 8-hour workday.
Is that right? Oh, I would probably believe that, to be honest.
Yeah, like that's why I get very offended when people are saying like do you actually do work? And it's like, yeah, I do. Because like when you're on stage too, if you're I mean, you know it to be true. I mean, I've never worked in a cubicle. I have no desire to work in a cubicle. But when you're at work, you can take those moments to close your eyes, maybe go to the water cooler, whatever. Your brain shuts on and off over that 8-hour span. Right. If we're on stage for 2 hours, even prior, because we're thinking show, heading up to that, the brain doesn't shut off for 3 to 4 hours at all. Like there is no downtime. So
yeah, no, it makes sense. You're burning everything that you got in one kind of big burst, and after that, yeah, it definitely, because I know I usually feel exhausted after shows, like even after the show we did, you can just tell like there's everybody kind of, they just kind of shutting it down, and people, you're all comics, really? And
yep, we
are.
are.
Said the entire dinner, everybody's just kind of hanging out, but no, it's I try to do the same thing too. Like you said, try to meet people after the show and say hi. And because I do appreciate people coming out when they do. But in terms of getting crazy or whatever, I think I'm just getting older or what. But I just kind of shut it down.
So as I just want people to know that we will be taking some questions here. If you've got any questions for myself or for Andy in regards to comedy, life, whatever it may be, that's cool. We're going to start to bring those in now if you want to ask those questions. But Andy, while we're waiting for any questions to come in, why are you a comic? Like, why even take this route?
Why am I a comedian? Well, when I was a kid, I just loved funny people. I just loved, all my uncles were just funny people. They were always laughing, goofing off. The people I kind of looked up to, everybody's just like, who's your favorite actor or whatever. I always had funny people for my answers, like Steve Martin or Adam Sandler, or Dan Aykroyd, guys like that. So I just think like growing up, I knew how much fun it was just laughing, and goofing off. So I thought if I could bring that to people every week or whatever, that'd be awesome, kind of like with our church tour, you never know what people are going through, so it's nice to kind of just give people a release for, whatever, 2 hours or whatever, just to forget about their problems and just laugh. So I've been lucky that it somehow worked out okay. My parents were, like any parent, were a little skeptical starting off, and thought I was 38 living in their basement or something. And luckily I only moved out after 23. So, beat the curve or whatever. And, but no, I've been really lucky. I just love it. It's fun. Like I said, just hanging with funny people, and the traveling's awesome. I never thought in a million years I'd get to see different parts of the world. And so I've been really lucky with that stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, so we got a couple questions here. So the first one, and we'll both kind of answer this. This one's actually very close to my heart. Jacob asked, how do you guys deal with writer's block? I'm just gonna say right off the bat, and then I want to hear Andy, you respond as well. But I don't believe in writer's block. I think it's a sense. Writer's block usually comes in, I believe, when you don't break past a certain wall. My philosophy for writing, and I don't sit down for comedy per se and write jokes out, but I did when I was writing my book and those type of things, is that I would just write, delete, write, delete, write, delete, and like 15 minutes later, I might still not have anything, and all of a sudden you catch the rhythm, and then for about 3 hours I would write. And so, Jacob, I would say I don't believe in writer's block. I believe it's just a matter of like just keep writing, even if it doesn't make sense. Just write it, delete it if you want to, write it, just keep going, and eventually that rhythm will go. And that's what I perceive. How do you deal with writer's block, or how would you answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I was never really a guy that was like sit down and try to just write, you know, because to me, I feel like when I'm trying to do it on stage, it just sounds forced, you know, like if I write, I went to the store, my delivery is, I went to the store, you know?
Right.
My experience is just go out, walk around, go to a store, go to Starbucks, just try to have some sort of life experience, because the humor is going to come naturally from, you know, just being out. I went to a Starbucks and there's a weird guy talking about this or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like the more, if that makes sense, the more you just experience life and the more you get out, you can just write about things. And the same thing, I try to reflect on just, like I said, my childhood. I try to think about stuff that happened around Christmas time. I try to think about just, you know, I'm lucky because I'm married and I have 2 kids. So there's material every day just listening to them. Out some kind of craziness. So I mean, I don't catch it right away. They'll say things and I'll just kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, and it just kind of like mentally gets stored in my brain. So then when I actually do sit down, I try to do like a weekly recap of like what was weird or crazy that happened this week. And so then I'll just try to write all that stuff down, and then that's kind of where I feel like you I don't want to say like, I guess you kind of like flush it out, you know what I mean? You try to write it like that. So that's been my, I guess that's how I write, is just more like I said, hanging out with my parents, or, you know,
Nice.
going to the mall or something, because I feel like just being around people and doing things like that, you'll get the relatability factor in.
Right. And I think the combination of what we both just said there, I think Jacob, with that question about dealing with writer block, I think they both follow the same lines in some way, which is the way you get past writer's block is don't stop. Either continue to physically write until that idea starts to flow, or like you said, go somewhere, walk outside. Something will spark. If you've got a comedic mind at all, the more you see and expose yourself to, the more it's going to spark that up. So don't stop. Don't curl up in a corner and going, I got writer's block. No, like just keep writing, even if you don't have an idea yet, or walk outside and just keep your eyes wide open. I think that combined.
That's my
Crystal asked,
is don't force it. Don't force it. Because if you're forcing, I got to be funny, I got to be funny, I got to be funny, it's not going to be. It's not. So just, you know what I mean? Try to just write and keep yourself calm. And I heard Seinfeld used to put a cookie out. You ever hear this? He used to pull out like a chocolate chip cookie because he loved chocolate chip cookies. And he's like, I'm not going to eat the chocolate chip cookie until I come up with something. And he would sit there for an hour trying to come up with something. And then he said before he knew it, he forgot about the cookie and was just writing all day long, you know? So use little things like that, little motivators to keep
whatever
you going.
can motivate you. Crystal asks, do you remember your very first joke on stage? I remember mine fondly. How about you?
My first joke on stage was about my life. It was about how it was. I started when I was 18, and so my first joke was I was in a dorm room at college trying to order food from a Chinese restaurant. And the lady was like, what's the order name for? And I would say, it's Beningo. And she'd go, bingo? It's bingo? B-I-N-G-O? Beningo? Bingo? And so, like, there was this big, like, kind of, like, fish out of water thing where I couldn't understand her. She couldn't understand me. And so that was the first, that was the first joke I would do, like, right out of it. That was, I think, the first joke I ever told on stage. And, got a pretty good laugh, and then the rest of my set was just garbage. But yeah.
When I was, do you know Leland Clausen?
We just worked together for the first time in Saskatchewan at the tail end of that tour.
Okay.
It was like the last, and yeah, I liked working with him. He's a nice guy.
He is. I met him. So I met him back in 2007 on his. I went to tour manage his comedy tournament, and I just went there as a tour manager. I wasn't expecting to do comedy, and I didn't want to get off the plane and not have a story to tell Leland. So I flew from Toronto to BC, and I got there, and I had written this story. This real incident happened on the plane, and then, as comedians do, I embellished that one little moment and created this like 5-minute story. And I got off the plane, and I told Leland this story in the airport. He laughed. That was funny. What ended up happening was, like, 5 days into this tour, he needed someone to introduce him on the stage, and so he asked if I could do it. And so I went up on the stage, and I kind of introduced him. He said, "That's really funny. Can you do it again the next night?" And next thing you know, he started to give me time to tell jokes. And I told that story that I had written just to kind of have something to tell Leland. But I told that story, and then he started to give me more and more time just to tell these stories. But my very first joke was one that wasn't written to be a joke on stage. It wasn't written for any other purpose other than, I just want to help tell this guy a story. And it ended up becoming this piece that still today I tell, and it kind of expanded. It would be considered like a classic piece for myself. But yeah, my very first joke was this story that I wrote that had nothing to do, it wasn't even meant to go on stage. And it ended up being a foundation of my very first 7-minute set. It's called The Airplane Story. You can find it online, but that's cool. So we are running out of time here, Andy. I mean, you've got a young family, and try to keep these things in the, Crystal says that joke's her favorite. Thank you, Crystal. I just want, as we go here, I want you to share something positive about how you are handling Cquarantine and how you feel others should handle Cquarantine, so that everybody can just stay positive, keep on laughing, those type of things. What would you be able to offer up?
Well, for me, the first positive thing is just being a comedian. I'm traveling all the time. I'm doing 40 weeks a year. Sometimes on cruise ships, I'm gone 2 weeks in a row. So for me, it's been just be able to spend time with my family. I know it's probably a little cliche to say, like, oh, spend time with your family, but I really have missed just sitting there watching videos or, the new watching Frozen 2 for the 30th time in a row. But I mean, it's a little cliche to say, like, they grow up fast, but they really do. I feel like I was really missing out on a lot of stuff. So now that it looks like I've got a lot of spare time on my hands, it's nice to just spend time with my family and just kind of play little silly games with the kids and have dinners and like that. So I guess that's the positive, is just getting to spend time with your family and for lack of word, just reconnecting, to be honest with you. I mean, people that are out of work, it's good to just kind of call and FaceTime and just see how people are doing. So I know we're social distancing each other, but I mean, how often do you honestly call, your parents or your cousins or whatever? So, I mean, I think this is a good time to just, like I said, kind of connect with people you haven't, life just goes by quick. So, you just, you kind of lose touch with people. So I that's positive, I think, is just getting a chance to talk to people you haven't really gotten a chance to talk to in a while. So
yeah, I think absolutely. I think taking advantage, like you said, like everything's always moving so fast. Very rarely do we get an opportunity in any industry or in any just life to have a reset, and that's what this has done. And there's a lot of negatives that are happening, and I'm sure that there's people that are really struggling right now, but this really is an opportunity. Like you said, if we take this opportunity, I've already been mentioning to people, if we come out of this on the other end, however long it takes, and we haven't learned a new skill, reconnected with people, got healthier, like this is all those things that we wanted to do, but we couldn't because we were too busy. You have that chance right now to do a lot of positives. And one of those is connecting with family. And so I'm glad you're getting that opportunity.
Like a nice lifetime out. You know what I mean? I know some people are kind of struggling and a little bit nervous, but it is. It's hopefully a short period of time where you can just kind of you know, like I said, kind of just do you know, catch up with people or whatever. But hopefully people are well, and hopefully everybody's all right out there. So yeah,
That's cool. Well, Jacob's goal is to grow a beard, so we hope you do that. That's the bell. That means that the show is about to end. I stole that bell from my high school when I graduated, along with the other.
nice.
But I want to thank you for being on the show, and remind people, where can they find you? Website, any other social media? Where can they find you?
Sure, you can go to my website, www.andybeningo.com. Good luck spelling that. It's Beningo, but I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at
You're on Instagram now. That's awesome.
At Bingo Comedy. So feel free. I know a couple people were comics, so feel free to reach out anytime, man. I always love talking shop with comedians. And like I said, man, always good talking with you. And hopefully when all this craziness dies down, we can go to Boston Pizza or something, get a couple of slices of pizza or something. So
we will work again, and we'll stay in touch, man. Stay well, keep on laughing, and we'll talk to you again in the future. And everybody, go there and start liking that picture with Stevie Y. That's pretty awesome.
Wash your hands, man. Be good.
All right, take care, Andy. Appreciate it.
See you soon. Thanks.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Calling Comedians in Cquarantine. Please take a moment to like, share, subscribe, and ring the little bell so you and your friends don't miss any of the laughs. Episodes will be uploaded here until I run out. And be sure to check out the description below for links to connect with myself or my guests on social media, and also download the podcast version of this show. Until next time, remember, your brain, it's for thinking, not for eating. So just say no to zombies.